Hello everyone and welcome back to the NPC Dungeon. This week's story is very special and it's the first in a series that I'm going to be telling about a campaign that I recently ran that has probably become one of my favorites. So without holding us up any longer, what happened? We begin in the Dead Holt, a long dead forest doomed to eternally wilt by an event long past that has since fallen under the jurisdiction of legend and mythology, just outside of the small town of Nine Trees, named for the trunks of the twisting tree in the center of the town that looks more like 9 trees than one. A strange creature roamed the outskirts, buzzing and floating, maneuvering from tree to bleak-looking tree. It had the bulky, fuzzy body of a giant honeybee, an elongated thorax complete with a stinger, 2 translucent fluttering wings sprouting from its back, but a reptilian head with a long snout, sharp teeth, and a roar to end all roars. It had 2 gargantuan legs and a pair of tiny arms. That's right, this was a B-Rex. I didn't know where my player had found this creature from at first. I think he just found it online one day, but after a bit of digging, I found that it's apparently from a D&D 5e compatible system called Lasers and Liches. I'm not advertising for them or anything. I don't even know much about them. I just thought that I'd give proper credit before including this in this story. And with such a creature, you might be thinking that such a strange monstrosity could hardly go unnoticed, and you'd be right. And my player realized this immediately upon coming across a single tree, seemingly petrified or rotting like all the rest, but this one was different. It was covered in some kind of ice. It was the only one that was covered in ice, and it wasn't even cold out. My player looked very carefully and examined this strange ice before him, and was able to eventually make out a face with an incredibly high perception check. I think it was like 26 or something. The face recoiled in horror, apparently being discovered, before belching out a stream of icy breath at the creature, who stumbled back but regained his composure, shrugging off the freezing effect that had tried to take root in his muscles. But as he did, he flew back and touched down on the ground, splashing down in a puddle of mud, and it wasn't long before a face emerged from there as well, before morphing into an entire body, wearing a big goofy grin and a deep baritone chuckle. The B-Rex shot back up as the ice detached itself from the tree, and a wave of smoke and dust rolled in before transforming into small, impish figures with long ears, huge elongated noses, claws, and spindly, demonic-looking wings. The ice and mud creatures soon followed suit, and this B-Rex was soon surrounded by 4 mephits. A mephit, if you do not know, is a small creature that resembles an imp and is native to the elemental planes. There are 6 types, each one represents 2 elements. They usually prefer to live in places in the material plane similar to the type of mephit that they are. However, these 4 had something completely different in mind. The one comprised of dust looked up and shouted to the other 3, "Now you idiots, let's take this beast back to the circus where it belongs." The smoke mephit laughed in a creepy kind of way, but the mud and ice mephits weren't so sure, and they had every right to be. After the dust mephit concluded a magic lullaby that was supposed to put the creature to sleep, it disappeared and maneuvered behind her, delivering a damaging sneak attack. But she wasn't dead yet, and that didn't mean she was happy either. She shouted to the others to do something. The ice mephit, hearing this call, clawed recklessly, landing in a few powerful hits of his own and actually looked quite proud of himself. But the others weren't having the same luck. The mud mephit belched out a globule of thick green mud, but this B-Rex deftly dodged it. The smoke mephit spat out a flurry of burning cinders, but our friend turned just in time to block with one of his tiny arms, somehow. Our old friend the dust mephit, apparently the ringleader of this group, sighed and said, "If you want anything done right, you gotta do it yourself." And then she breathed out a barrage of her own blinding, dusty breath. This one took hold, and the B-Rex swung wildly, actually feeling his claws strike cold ice. The ice mephit cried out and turned to try to flee and fly away as the B-Rex delivered the final blow, all while blinded, mind you. The ice mephit exploded, unleashing a wall of sharp ice that impaled his adversary, dealing heavy damage as it pierced the wings and B-Rex body. Our goofy friend the mud mephit realized this was a little more serious than he'd previously thought. He belched out another hail of sticking mud that this time fastened the B-Rex to a tree as the remaining dust and smoke mephits dug their claws in. Blinded, restrained, and being ruthlessly attacked, our friend cried out, blinking the dust from his eyes and pulling himself from the tree. It was all business now. He was mad. He pulled out a dagger and went for the dust mephit once more, finding purchase as she too cried out and exploded into a burst of blinding dust. But this B-Rex has been through this once already. He closed his eyes and waited out, surprised to feel no further attacks on him. By the time he opened his eyes, he realized the other 2 were retreating, the mud mephit shouting, "This was not what I signed up for," while the smoke mephit hissed that she knew this was a bad idea from the start. As injured as he was, this B-Rex still wanted vengeance. He picked his target, narrowing in on the smoke mephit, went invisible once again, and reappeared next to her with dagger in hand. This one actually exploded in a hail of money, as gold coins and gemstones erupted from her and fell at the B-Rex's feet, along with a ticket for something called Ogthal's Cave of Mysterious Wonders. The B-Rex was intrigued and continued on. After all, the dust mephit he had just defeated did mention the circus. Perhaps he'd go and check it out. And that's it for this week. That was some character introduction introduction, and I really hope you all enjoyed it. And quick note, if you're wondering why he was able to go invisible and do all these different things, it's because I had my player start at level 10 for this campaign, because some of the enemies that I had them fighting later on were kind of higher level. Anyway, I was planning on doing everyone's character introduction in the same episode this week, but like I said in my other episode, this introduction was just so exciting that I thought I'd tell it by itself. Plus, all of the characters are just so creative, and I thought I wouldn't be able to do all of them justice unless I did it this way. Be sure to check out this week's other video if you haven't yet. I talk all about the importance of Session 0, and feel free to come back next week where I'll talk about the epilogue session, what they are, how to do them, and why I think they're so much fun. I'll also talk about the other character introductions from this campaign and show them all finally meeting and coming together. Thanks for watching. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and until next time, let's learn something.